Hey guys, what's going on? Gotcha Boys subscribers, how you doing? I have an announcement, and it's, it is what it is. It's kind of funny, to tell you the truth. After a few episodes, I think we are kind of just putting an end to the Gotcha Boys podcast, which is kind of funny because I think that makes us possibly the shortest lived podcast of all time. With the greatest intro ever. I think that just goes without saying. But first of all, I want to let you guys know one thing. This has absolutely nothing to do with any sort of animus between myself and Tim and Dusty. I think those guys are fucking awesome. I think they're hilarious. I think they're great guys. And I think that the feeling is mutual. I'd like to think so. But you may be wondering, well then, why? Well, how did you get here? Well, I'll tell you guys kind of the nutshell version. Basically, a lot of you know that we announced this podcast several months ago. I mean, somewhere in the fall. And it was around somewhere in December that I actually got OBS, Open Broadcast Software, which allows you to actually do live broadcasts and kind of, show videos and things like that. And I had a really difficult time because I was using a Mac, and the program just does not play well with Macs. And for literally a month, I had just this incredibly frustrating time where there were all these bugs, and it was sort of like whack-a-mole. Once we got rid of one bug, another one would just pop up, and it was absolutely impossible to do any sort of broadcasts at that point, or any sort of recordings. And then I thought, okay, well, I guess I need a more powerful computer. So I bought another Mac. Now, guys, don't give me grief for buying Mac. I've had Macs for years, and all of my video libraries and tons of software that I own is Mac. So it really would have been like starting at square one. I would have had to purchase all this new stuff for anyway, I won't go into that very heavily. So I got this new computer, and I still had all of these, they were, so depressing. So many problems. And again, it was like whack-a-mole. Once one problem was solved, a new one would pop up, and I was on the phone with Mac constantly, and my friends who know OBS, driving them absolutely insane. And it took months and months to finally get to the point where we could do the first episode. And we still had tech issues, which is why the first episode had all of those edits. I mean, that's not the only reason why it had those edits. To tell you the truth, aside from working with those two cool guys, what I wanted to do with this podcast was to create a video podcast that was as interesting to watch as it was to listen to, because I get really bored watching a lot of video podcasts. Most of the time I just listen to them because I get so bored watching them. And yeah, I wanted to create something that was visually dynamic and that was constantly had lots of eye candy, basically. And that was difficult to pull off. And as I was getting things together and finally had everything in place, although not really, because like I said, we still had tech issues, Dusty started his own podcast, and you guys should check it out. It's really funny. It's really hysterical. And now he's doing that quite often, and I think he's really good at it. It's really funny. I highly recommend it. And it's going to be very difficult for us to kind of compete with that. It's just like, he is able to do several of those a week, and he's certainly, entitled to do it. And it's just, it's hard because the thing is that I know that a lot of CC patrons went over to the Gotcha Boys in order to help us. And I think that people who are his subscribers are probably more likely to give money, to support his Patreon, which is perfectly fine. But I do not think that this is going to be financially feasible. And it's such a ton of work that it has to be financially feasible in order for us to be able to produce these podcasts. So unfortunately, we're going to have to put an end to it. But I really do want to emphasize that at the end of the day, it's okay. What Dusty is doing is really good material. It's really good stuff. He's able to put it out at a much quicker rate than we would have been able to. And, I just want to say one last time that I really like these guys. I think that Tim is absolutely hysterical. I think he's an underrated comedic gem in this neck of the woods of YouTube. So if anyone is looking for a podcast mate, I would highly recommend reaching out to him. And then as for Dusty, I think he's a great guy too. A lot of people they came to him too saying like, hey, why are you working with Vadim? But a lot of people came to me a lot, he has a reputation, and I don't think that there's much that I can say to those of you who have a problem with the guy, but all I can say is that knowing him behind the scenes, I think he has a really big heart. I think he has a reputation for saying and doing certain things that he has more than apologized for over the years. He had like a certain period of time where I think he refers to it as his cringy midlife crisis. And you guys should watch his videos on those topics. Hopefully it will change your mind if you feel strongly that he's not that awesome a guy. But I would not have started a podcast with a dude that I did not thoroughly respect. And yeah, so I just want to throw that out there. And yeah, guys, I guess the last thing to say is to patrons, I wholeheartedly apologize. I'll take the blame on this one. I'll fall on the sword. A lot of it had to do with the tech issues that I had. And if you guys felt like, you invested in or, gave money to our Patreon because you wanted to see the podcast develop and, see it turn into something more, then by all means, reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you a refund if you'd like it. And that's really all I can do, and say I'm sorry if you're disappointed. And I just want to thank you guys for subscribing. And you know what? In the end, I think that this is all right because Dusty will be able to do his kick-ass podcast. And honestly, I have not been able to do much CC. I can get back to that, and I can get back to what I've been wanting to do for a long time, which is starting to do videos myself. And I'm really excited about that. So I hope if you guys are not subscribed to my channel and also Tim's channel and Dusty's channel, you guys go ahead and do that. And have an awesome day. All right, later. And I'm just going to say on behalf of the other guys, thank you so much. And we love ya. Later. Bye-bye.